Today I want to talk about releasing your music digitally, why it's important, how to do it, the pros and cons, and we're going to talk about several different options you have to release your music digitally. The first one we're going to talk about is SoundCloud. You might remember that 8-10 years ago, maybe even a little sooner than that, SoundCloud really kind of blew up as an online platform for people who were making SoundCloud rap, as it was called, EDM, electronic music, stuff like that. And since then, as a platform, it has added a lot of features and really taken off in a way that's beneficial to a lot of independent artists. As far as the rock and metal circles that I move in, I don't see SoundCloud used a ton, mostly people uploading private albums for sharing, submission purposes, stuff like that. So it's there, but those definitely aren't the flagship genres, in my opinion. SoundCloud has 2 different levels of membership that would probably be beneficial for you as a new artist or someone who's deciding to take their music seriously. The first one is their free account, which they call SoundCloud Next. SoundCloud Next gets you 3 hours of upload time, which, depending on how you play those cards and what type of music you create and what length of format you're releasing, that could be quite a bit of time. You can set those albums, tracks, whatever, to be public or private and then share those links out as you will. SoundCloud Next does give you some level of engagement with your fans, comments, messaging, liking, reposting, stuff like that. And it also gives you some basic metrics, who's listening, where they're listening from, etc. Nothing super advanced, but enough to say, oh hey, I have some traction, here's where it's coming from. It's really important to share your music online so that people have a free and easy and savable way to interact with your music. As much as I am a fan of handing out CDs at a local show, giving people download codes from Bandcamp, which we'll talk about, and stuff like that, being able to send people a link that costs them nothing and costs you nothing is super valuable, especially if you're using it to upload demos, you're trying to gain traction, submit to labels. Super invaluable, and you should absolutely be doing it. The next option for SoundCloud is called SoundCloud Next Pro. This starts at $8.25 a month. It gives you some more customization with your track uploads. You get unlimited uploads. It gives you better, more advanced metrics, and it even gives you access to some mastering services. I think you get 3 mastering credits per month, and then you can pay for more on top of that if you want it. SoundCloud also acts as a streaming service of its own, in its own right properly, in which that it pays you for the amount of streams that you get on SoundCloud if you have their Next Pro account. The pay is not terrible, it's fairly comparable to all the other streaming services, which we'll talk about, but it equates to about $4 per 1,000 streams. So if you want to make $100, you need 25,000 streams. Not impossible, but also nothing to sneeze at. SoundCloud Next Pro also has distribution services, so they will upload your music to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. They also do pitching to SiriusXM Radio, and SoundCloud claims to pay 100% of your royalties back to you, probably because you're paying a per month subscription to them. They also allow you to split the royalties among collaborators if there's multiple. SoundCloud could be up your alley if those are things that you're looking for, especially if you're someone who operates in a pop, EDM, rap, hip hop scope. That's where SoundCloud seems to really kind of get its bread and butter. The next one we're going to talk about is by far the most popular among rock and metal circles and kind of just underground music in general as far as independent hosting, and that's Bandcamp. A key difference from SoundCloud is that Bandcamp advertises itself as being an online record store, and it does not pay you for streams generated on their platform. Bandcamp is really pretty much all about commerce. There are 2 different membership levels for artists. The first one is their generic free artist account, which costs nothing and you should have. And as far as commerce goes, the way this breaks down is that whatever you sell on Bandcamp's platform, you or the artist or whomever is going to take home roughly 82% of whatever is sold. Bandcamp takes a 10% cut on merch and a 15% cut on digital music. meaning if you sell a CD, they take 10%. If you sell a download, they take 15%. An interesting thing about this is that Bandcamp does not pull their 10% on physical sales out of your physical sale. They keep track of that, and then they deduct it from future digital sales. So it is not incredibly uncommon for you to have digital sales where you get $0, cents, whatever, because Bandcamp is recouping their 10% on physical sales. And this does not include PayPal's processing fees, which are also on top of that. So the math averages out to about 82%, give or take. Bandcamp does have a communication portal for you to essentially have like an embedded email list where you can send messages to your followers. They can reply and comment, and it does give you some level of engagement with your fans. And Bandcamp does have fairly easily embeddable audio players for you to duck into blogs, other websites, stuff like that. The next level is the Bandcamp Pro account, which is $10 per month. A Bandcamp Pro account gives you batch uploading, so you can upload a lot of things at one time. It also gives you video hosting, so if you wanted to upload your music video, live clips, stuff like that, you can do that on your album page. It also lets you tie into Google Analytics if you're one of those nerds. And the biggest benefit, in my opinion, of a Bandcamp Pro account is private streaming. So you can upload an album, set it to private, and then you can use Bandcamp's private streaming function to have Bandcamp generate a private listening link and then send that to record labels, press people, blogs, whatever, anyone you want to hear your music, and then they can click on that link and stream your album privately. These links do expire. I think they're only good for 2 or 3 clicks, but I've used that to submit to labels in the past and it was fairly effective. It allows you to add a custom message, or otherwise it'll just say, hey, Weald and Woe want to send you a link. I recommend you customize the message. Bandcamp does allow you to host live streams and listening parties, and they have like a virtual merch table that you can set up during those. So those are a cool way to connect with your listener base and sell some merch in the process. In addition to digital music, Bandcamp does allow you to sell basically any form of physical merch, which is pretty cool. If you don't want to set up like a big cartel or something like that specifically, you can do it all through their merch processing platform that gives you shipping labels if you need them. It helps you keep track of all your sales, where they're coming from. The metrics on it are pretty good. Bandcamp also now provides vinyl pressing. You can sign up to do a pre-order through Bandcamp of 250 vinyl, in which Bandcamp handles the pressing and the fulfillment, meaning that they ship it out for you. And there's no out-of-pocket cost to you because it's kind of crowdfunded through that pre-order. There is a minimum order of 250, which feels like a lot, but Bandcamp will handle almost the entirety of the process. If they are damaged, they get lost in shipping, Bandcamp takes care of it. Like I mentioned, Bandcamp is really focused on being an online record store. They want to drive commerce, and artists that sell more get a little more attention, but don't let that discourage you. You should have a Bandcamp account. It is a very useful tool, and almost everybody does. That's kind of the first place people go to look for music, at least in my world. So if you don't have a Bandcamp, you're probably doing yourself a disservice, even if it's only the free account. The next service I want to talk about is called Ampal. Ampal is new. I believe it's still in its beta testing, or at least the beta release. And Ampal kind of presents itself as being the DIY dudes or ladies alternative to Bandcamp. Bandcamp is all about commerce, business, making sales. Ampal is about pushing community, engagement with your fans, growing your scene. It's about the music, not necessarily about selling it. Ampal works on a membership subscription basis in which you pay $10 per year, and that gets you 5 hours of upload time, which, like I mentioned earlier, depending on the length of your releases, how many you're releasing, that can be quite a lot of time. Ampal only takes a 5% processing fee as opposed to 10 or 15 on Bandcamp, but the PayPal processing does apply. Ampal really stresses an emphasis on beautiful design, connecting with your fans, great looking pages, putting the artist's ability to represent themselves accurately in front of the desire to sell digital music or merch. There's a lot of the same features that roll over from Bandcamp because a lot of them are necessary. Selling merch, selling music, messaging, embeddable links, stuff like that. So a lot of that stuff applies because those are kind of the bare necessities for artists. Ampal is really new, so like I said, it's still in its beta, but it looks really exciting. People are very excited about it, so keep an eye on that space once it opens up to the public. Those are the 3 best sources that I know of for kind of self-hosting, being in charge of your representation, having an independent kind of DIY ethos to them, some more than others. So now let's talk about distribution services, in which there are 3 main ones I'm going to talk about. I'm sure there are others. These are the 3 that I have some knowledge or experience with. The first one, and I use this service, is DistroKid. So like the rest of these services, DistroKid allows you to create an account for a yearly fee, which gives you X amount of artists, X amount of uploads, whatever. And then DistroKid's main function is to push your music through to streaming services and social media platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon, Pandora, Deezer, Tidal, the list goes on. Also, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Very important to have your music on social media if you're someone who's looking to engage on a larger scale and really connect with more people and push your music for some hopes of meteoric growth. I say that facetiously, but it is very beneficial. DistroKid also offers mastering services. So when you upload, they'll give you the option to have it go through DistroKid's mastering process. I think it's algorithm based. I don't think someone actually sits down and masters it. I think it runs it through an algorithm. I've never used it. I always hire professionals, but it's an option for you if you're someone who is interested in that sort of thing. DistroKid has 3 membership levels. The first one they call their musician plan, which is $23 a year, which gives you access to 1 artist profile, but you can upload unlimited music and lyrics, and it allows you to create royalty splits if you're collaborating with other artists. The second one is called Musician Plus, which is $40 a year and gives you 2 artist profiles with unlimited music and lyric uploads. They also allow for royalty splits if you're collaborating. Gives you the option to sync lyrics inside Apple Music, which is pretty cool and some people value that. It gives you daily streaming stats and other statistics. Plus you can customize the label name you're releasing on, the release date, and you can control your iTunes pricing. And then they have the Ultimate profile, which is $90 a year. It gives you between 5 and 100 artist profiles. This is really intended for labels, I think. Gives you all of the above listed functions, as well as RIAA monitoring, meaning if your album goes gold or platinum, the RIAA monitors that through DistroKid and will keep track of that. And hey, maybe you could get a platinum record. That would be cool. On top of that, which is cool, slightly less cool depending on how much of a nerd you are, but they also give you a terabyte of shared storage. I really like DistroKid. I've been using it for 5 years now. I've never had any problem. It's always been very easy to use. They're very clear on their upload guidelines. And I've never had music really be delayed, upload poorly, anything like that. It's been very successful for me personally. It also has been a not terrible source of income. So I have uploaded By Fire and Sword and WEALD and Woe through DistroKid to all of the streaming services. And they pay at varying rates. I'm not going to necessarily break down for you what the rates are per streaming service. That's super public information. You could just Google on your own if you're interested. But I will give you kind of a breakdown on how much we've made off of DistroKid's revenue through streaming over the length that I've been using DistroKid. It's not a lot, but it's not nothing, and it's actually kind of interesting. Through Apple Music, we've made $200. Through iTunes, it's been $122. iTunes Songs is $166, whatever iTunes Songs is, I have no idea. Spotify has paid me $860. Pandora has paid me 81 cents. Deezer has paid me $18.13. Tidal has paid me $55.30. I've made $27 off of YouTube ads. YouTube Red has gotten me $123.33. Google Play has got me $8.66. $139 from Amazon. $77.66 off of Amazon Unlimited. And 10 cents from Napster. About half of this is just the last calendar year when By Fire and Sword released Glory and WEALD and Woe released For the Good of the Realm. We didn't have a whole lot of interaction before that, so probably about half of that income is just the last calendar year. So if you have an album that's getting a lot of streams and getting some push, that's not nothing. For WEALD and Woe in the last year, it's been about 120,000 streams, and By Fire and Sword is about 150,000 total, I think. So I'll put the all-time numbers up just so you can kind of see how much it pays per stream averaged out. Like I said, not nothing, but probably not going to be your moneymaker, unless you're Post Malone or something. The next big one of these distribution services is called Tooncore. Tooncore does basically all of the same things as DistroKid. They have very comparable pricing plans. They have more pricing plans with some slightly different variable options, but pretty much it's the same thing. But interestingly, Tooncore does have a free account that lets you upload strictly to social media platforms. No Spotify, no Apple Music, no Deezer, no Tidal, but you get Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, etc. That could be very beneficial to some new artists. And the other one, which is kind of a throwback to when I was like a teenager in the early 2000s, is CD Baby, which used to be a really interesting place in the early 2000s online to go find rare music. CD Baby does not do yearly memberships or monthly subscriptions or anything like that. They do a $9.99 per album release fee. If you upload 10 albums a year, it's $100. Not per year, $10 per album. And that's for the lifetime of the album. They'll keep it up, you paid the $10. The difference here is that they keep 9% of the revenue of your streaming. So they're gonna make money forever as long as you're making money on streaming. Tooncore and DistroKid, as far as I could tell, don't take your streaming revenue because you pay them per year to host. Kind of like we talked about earlier, it's very important for you to have your music online so that people can find you. So many people find music accidentally, just stumble across albums that they think have cool album art and go, oh hey, this is now one of my favorite things. So if you don't have music online, you're probably missing out on a large amount of potential PR, discoverability, call it what you want. You should have a Soundcloud or Bandcamp account. If you're in the rock metal vein, I would recommend Bandcamp just because that seems to be where those artists live more, but they're both incredibly popular. Bandcamp seems to be more ubiquitous. Everyone is on Bandcamp, but both are good options. I also would encourage you to get your music on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, stuff like that. We've gotten a lot of streams, made no money off of those things. And for people who are always like, oh, I don't make any money off my art, or I'm a starving artist, or I can't have a job because I only want to play keyboards. That's fine, but you need to make income, and streaming is a way to make some income off of that. Yes, Spotify is evil. Yes, Apple does questionable things. Yes to all of the above about the artistic integrity of streaming at large. If you are a musician who's trying to make it your career and you're not on streaming, it is my opinion that you are kind of only hurting yourself. We've all seen for a long time that physical sales on a large scale, I think, are actually kind of increasing in the last couple years, but over time the trend has been not amazing. And digital downloads, purchasing online, that seems to be the way things are going. So unless there's some sort of wicked turnaround and vinyl and tapes and CDs start becoming huge in demand and go through the roof, you should probably be on a streaming service. I hope this was helpful to you. If it wasn't, go ahead and tell me that it wasn't. I just want the like and the comment. If you would drop me a like and a subscribe, I would be super appreciative. If you've had success on any of these platforms, please let me know. I would love to hear about it and just have any kind of general discussion. I love this stuff. I want to help new young artists, or even some old heads who are just taking it seriously for the first time. Hit me up. Good luck.